Ready to go?
Everybody back. She's coming.
Excellent. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. We reconvened to open session. The meeting was reconvened to open session at 7:06 p.m. There was no report. There's no action taken. Item number 5, flag salute. Do we have somebody?
We do. We have Ms. Anjali Patel.
Excellent.
Who's going to be leading us in the flag.
Thank you so much.
Ready to begin?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
She's used to the little, so you guys all stood up and did.
Excellent. We got item number 6, community input on agendized items. The public may comment on items listed on the agenda, including the consent calendar, presentation, discussion, committee, and action items. Do we have any community input as of now?
We do not.
Mr. Pringle? Okay, great. We'll keep going. We'll go to item number 7, one part of the board meeting before we start approving board policies. Item number 8, 2022-23 Oxford Preparatory Academy Classified Employees of the Year. And are we doing both? Sorry, just announcement.
Just read both because
Yeah.
I think I put them in the opposite order on my presentation.
Okay, item number B, 2020-2020 Oxford Preparatory Academy Teachers of the Year.
So we are super, super excited. This is one of those fun things that we get to do at our board meetings. Like Member Pigu said, it's a little more fun than board policies. But it was a very hard, as always, decision, I know, for the staff to pick, because we do have such amazing classified and certificated staff members here at OPA at both of our sites. I know Mr. Berkeley and I were talking, our new middle school chancellor, and he's not here, so I can say what he said. I'll just speak for him. But coming from the outside, one of his things that he has noticed is just how amazing our staff is here at OPA, and just what incredible things are not only happening in the classroom, but how supportive everybody is, from our custodians to our, our tech guys, to our office staff and our teachers, our instructional assistants. Just everyone works so hard to make sure that our students have everything that they need, and that our families have everything that they need, from parents coming to the office with questions, all of those different things. So, so I know I'm super grateful to be here, because it makes my job a lot easier to have such an amazing staff and so many amazing people that I work with. But we do have the kind of creme de la creme tonight of those staff members that and this was voted on by their colleagues, by our other staff members, picking those staff who everyone feels just really go above and beyond, and every day do just amazing things for our kids. So I'm going to actually start with our 2 teachers of the year. And no, I can't. I did do down here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you admitting?
We have from South Orange County, one of our first grade teachers, and somebody who I love going into her class all the time. Her kids are always super engaged and super, super cute. And she's a great mentor to other teachers on campus. So Bianca Butts. you, and then now. And then you might as well just stay out because you're gonna.
I know,
have to
I
make
know.
sure And then from our Saddleback Valley campus, I was actually in her classroom today. She was afraid that I went in earlier in the day to her classroom because she was busy at work and she was afraid she didn't notice me in the classroom. But I had gone into her partner's classroom and skipped hers and then went back into her classroom later. But just another amazing teacher. Today, one of her kids lost their AirPods, and we went through a whole, Amy will like this. She was just talking about the champion profile, and we were talking about how the entire class critically thought through how to find the AirPods, and then in the end, the AirPods were found.
Out here, it was very good.
So, and then Ms. Riley said there's some things that we don't always have to tell the parents. But she's an amazing teacher, and that is Lynn Riley. You get extra. And on top of our amazing certificated teachers that we have here, like I said, our support staff does just as much to make sure that our kids and our families and our teachers have everything they need to make sure that our kids are successful. So from our Saddleback, or no, I did SOC first. From South Orange County, we have, and she is new to her position. She was so amazing that she got promoted from office assistant to office manager just a little while ago. And where the heck is she?
Both of SOC's recipients are very hardworking moms.
Yeah.
So running their
I was gonna say,
she was, Caitlin had an event tonight, so she's probably driving back right now. But
So
very, very
We
proud.
can recognize them later if she's back.
Yeah, we will. She'll probably walk in a little
So
embarrassed.
she missed. So we'll put a pin in her for a second. And and then I knew that Anne Marie wasn't going to be able to make it tonight because she also has something with her kids. So
And so that is, you're working your staff too hard, it seems.
No, this is their time with their own families, and I want their kiddos to go first. So.
yeah. But Anne Marie has been one of our instructional assistants since before I got to OPA. She does so many amazing things with our Scholar Academy students. She's kind of a fixture here in our South Orange County Scholar Academy team. And I don't know what we would do without her being there to support those students and also to support the teachers in the classroom. She's a great help to all of the teachers that she works with here at SOC. So Anne Marie as well. So we'll give each one of them. And then on to our Saddleback Valley. Even though it says SOC, it should say Saddleback Valley. But we have someone who I think has had like almost every classified job. And even was a sub-teacher, so certificated too. So she just basically does everything here at OPA and has been at both school sites. So she knows everything about OPA. And now she is the sort of the face of Saddleback Valley. When you walk into the office, the first person that you get to see greeting you is AJ, always with a smile and always incredibly helpful. and super knowledgeable because again, she's done every job. So, so I want to congratulate AJ. And then last but definitely not least, another person who was here before I got here and is another super amazing part of our Scholar Academy team, and who I just adore. I love just having conversations with her. She's a great, just a great person and really, truly cares about all of the students that she works with, all of the staff members that she works with, Scholar Academy, and just even outside of our Scholar Academy team, does so much on campus. Maria Montalvo. And only one of it. So how about one big round of applause for our employees here. So all of these employees will be going on to the county, and we're hoping will be then the Orange County Employees of the Year in their various job roles. Because I think definitely we have the best staff, so we should win. So let's take a picture with all of you guys and then our.
Maybe on the ramp or in front of
Do
the.
we want to wait for
Drapery?
Kelly and?
What do you wanna-
Kelly said she had the lights.
Okay, so let's wait for Kelly.
Okay.
So close it. Which one? And then we'll call you.
I know. She's gonna
I guess
I'm
it's
assuming
one
it's
more,
close one.
one more goes to the board meeting, I'm sorry to say that.
I think it's close one. Yeah.
You get
Kelly
to,
is 1 minute away.
you get to listen to the school report and then. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, read slowly. Thank you again, I mean, thank you for letting us be a part of this. It's amazing. And obviously you notify our parents as well.
Yeah.
We really appreciate that, and, yeah, we would love to take a picture when everybody's here. So thank you.
Yeah, she's 1 minute away.
Should I do the items of consent or school?
Yeah, let's do the items for consent first.
Okay.
Because you might be able to, she might be able to get here before we
Got it.
do that.
I'll try to read fast, so you can say
Okay.
that if you want. Item number 8, items for consent. We have 4 items that we're gonna ask for consent. Item number 8, minutes from the regular meeting of the OPA Board of Directors on September 22nd, 2022, which I believe we'll keep that separate. And I'll ask for a motion for that, and then everything else I'll do it together, because I know, Member Smith, you wanted to abstain from September, correct?
Correct.
So can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of the OPA Board of Directors on September 22nd, 2020? Thank you, Member Agarwal. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Travis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Now we're gonna, I think we may have to do the minutes for November as well, because some of you guys,
So if we have a typo or something, should we just send that to you later and just approve it like it is right now?
That's fine. And you can actually say what the typo
Okay.
is, just so
It
that
was-
everybody knows what it is. and then-
There was a typo
this is for November.
in November.
Okay,
Sorry. It was just a little. Apologize. It was typo in director notes under Mr. Kugu. It says Mr. Kugu is making, instead of IP.
Okay,
That's it.
okay, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of the OPA Board of Directors on November 15th, 2022? I can make a motion. No, I can second it. All those in favor? 3 of us, aye. Okay, thank you. So three ayes and 2 abstentions. Okay, Now we go to item numbers B, C, and D. MOU with Grand Canyon University for student teaching, MOU with University of Massachusetts Global for student teaching, and D, the personnel report as listed below that in the table. It's recommended that the board of directors approve consent items B, C, and D. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve consent items B, C, and D.
Thank you, Member Towers. May I have a second?
Oh, second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Any opposed? Okay, I think before we go to item number 9, we'll do item number 7 again, right?
We'll just, yeah, we'll
Recognize.
continue item number 7.
Yes, please.
So again, we have Ms. Fogarty, who has been recently, because she's so amazing, promoted from our office assistant to our office manager here at OPA South Orange County. And how long has it been, like a month?
I don't even.
I don't
know.
even
No, because it was Thanksgiving, it was like
Yeah.
3 weeks.
Okay, so like
Yeah,
a couple of weeks, but she's already been doing a ton of those same roles in the office and just is always there providing support for teachers. She used to be the face of SOC when you walked in. She was the first one you saw, but now she has a bigger role helping out all of our teachers, our administrators, and our families and students in the office. And so we want to congratulate Kelly Fogarty. Thank you. There you go.
I'm sorry I was late. I
That's
got
okay.
here spot.
We held off because now there's a big picture with everybody there.
There you go.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
So we're gonna take a big picture. so
Oh, with everyone.
Okay.
I don't like it. I think maybe why don't we just do in front?
Yeah, we do.
I don't like the chess pieces behind you, right?
Because then we'll have a chance.
Yeah, that's. Wait, this way, guys.
We're gonna do it this way. So we don't have all the little chess pieces. Yeah, probably a couple rows. Maybe 2 rows. Maybe this longer one is the front.
Here, I'll go with your
It ain't it.
And the short,
So much quicker than little kids.
Don't hold your award in front of your face. It's upside down.
Shake their hand.
Congratulations, yes.
I still love this.
You're doing a great job for your I'm having a
Congratulations.
Yes.
Well, real quick, Maria.
Okay, ready? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All the award winners and visitors. We won't take away a reward if you choose to leave for the board meetings.
Yes, exactly.
You know, you all have work to do.
Well, I always watch from home, but now I can hear.
I just watch from
That's
home.
great, awesome.
There you go.
I see your face. I'm like, what?
Thanks for coming. Okay, we'll move on. Thank you again for letting us be a part of it. You know, item number 9, items of presentations. Ms. Willis, you can come and give us a school update.
Great. All right, good evening, board members and our staff who are in the audience tonight. So I am extremely excited tonight. I have with me Anjali Patel. She's an 8th grade student here at OPA. She has been a student with us since 4th grade. She had Mrs. McMahon, and she's also one of our ASB students as well. So she's gonna go ahead and do a big bulk of our SOC update, because as Mr. Wright has said in the past, it's a lot more fun to hear from the kids than it is from the adults. So with that, I'm gonna pass it over to her.
So at the beginning of the year, Pal sold emergency kits for our families who wanted them. They were sold at $16 each, and Pal ended up selling 160 kits, which then they made $1,200 for profit. So before Thanksgiving break, our big and little buddies met up to make and decorate a thankful leaf. Pal is assembling a thankful tree in our kindness hallway to showcase this.
So our students have been working this week, and it was a great activity. And as you can see, Ms. Goodman kind of showcased, she did a little board presentation in her room. She identified a trait that she was thankful of each of her students. So then she was able, or all students were able to carry that over with their big and little buddies. So it was a really fun activity. And we've been doing a big and little buddy event every single month.
Mrs. McKnight's class won the candy donation challenge. They chose to play board games with our Pal kids as a prize. Ms. Roney facilitated a fun game for the 2 classes, and Mrs. McKnight earned herself 30 minutes of classroom time.
Which is huge for teachers. There we go. So today we actually have pictures of our dress rehearsal that took place on Tuesday, but for the first time ever, SOC hosted an actual play on campus. In the past, our 8th graders had put on Frosty Follies, but this is the first time we'd actually had a play that opened up to our younger grades. So with the assistance of and under the direction of Mr. Lopez and Ms. Strong, they came together and we had such a huge turnout when it came to auditions for this play. We had no idea kind of the interest that we would have. We ended up having to have multiple casts for the performances today just because we had so many kids. And it was probably one of the cutest things we have seen. Grades TK through 2nd grade actually got up and sang. We had, and you can kind of see some of the sets, and they're now out there. We'll have to send you guys some additional pictures and videos from the play today. But it was How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And then at the end, really making sure we're highlighting that no matter what holiday you're celebrating this season or throughout the year, at the end of it, the season is full of kindness and putting others first was really the message that they wanted to get across. So the kids did a phenomenal job, and it was an amazing way to get parents back on campus to volunteer, and also those kids who might not like to be in the limelight up on the stage presenting were able to be part of the stage crew and really did an amazing job. So we'll send you some videos from the actual play today, but we definitely wanted to highlight their hard work. One of the other exciting things we have going on, speaking about making sure all of our students are feeling included during this season, is our professors are working on teaching about all of the different holidays around the world. So we have rest day next Friday.
You know, my head with that.
Added, that's a long-standing tradition. But one of the things we added this year with the help of our 2 art electives is you can see in the pictures here, the kids are designing posters for all of the different holidays that take place. Kwanzaa, Diwali, Christmas, Hanukkah, making sure that those are on display. So every single kid goes, hey, that's what I celebrate. Or, oh my gosh, that's so cool. We just learned about this holiday in my class. So we are really excited to add that, something new, to our SOC kind of Polar Express Day that we have on the 16th. Okay.
Our 4th grade champions just completed their Taekwondo ceremony in the first trimester, and their parents got to come and see their kids showcase their skills. They learned palm strike, side kick, roundhouse kick, and axe kick. And they also got to break their boards. And in the second trimester, our third grade champions are going to participate in it, and then our second grade champions are going to participate in it in the third trimester.
You're able to play that video? Do the sound.
Hold on.
It's okay. So this was before the actual board breaking case. I think Mr. Cougar, your son's somewhere in there.
Let's go, ready, ready.
Let's see. There we go. Okay, and so what you've probably noticed this with all of my monthly board updates, but I always like to highlight the things that are going on in the classrooms as well. And so these were some of the classroom visits that have taken place over the last 2 weeks. So I wanted to highlight 6th grade. So what students did is they went ahead and they were reading a study sync English language arts passage that correlated with their ancient Egypt social studies curriculum. So we're getting that cross-curricular. And students worked in collaborative table groups for about 15 minutes. And they actually then created a thinking map, which you've heard a lot about from Dr. Henry, in their collaborative group, some of which then were, they were able to share out as well. So they're working on those communication skills and presentation skills. So it was a great activity. The kids, it's amazing how much they can get out of just a really quick 15-minute activity. And when I was speaking with Ms. White about this, she said as a teacher, with the addition of thinking maps this year, although we started it last year, really doing the rollout and really diving in deep and teaching the kids, they don't need a template to be able to create their thinking map. They're able to just take what they read and go, boom, we can go ahead and do a circle map, or we can do a bridge map. So 6th grade has done a wonderful job with that. This was also another 6th grade activity I wanted to highlight because I want to make sure everybody's still aware that we are absolutely still utilizing the gate icons within the classroom. So you're looking at language of the discipline, big idea, details. So just bear with me for a second because I want to make sure you guys fully understand this because this was really cool. So they created goal setting mind maps within the classroom. So they've been learning about how to create goals for themselves to help keep them motivated, especially this time of the year leading up to the holidays. The class discussed how goals were met and how they need to have a time frame and a specific action to reach, and it needs to be measurable. The class also discussed that sometimes long-term goals can be frustrating without having smaller goals to keep them motivated along the way. The students then each chose one long-term goal that they wanted to create a mind map on. They utilized those gate icons to represent the language of the discipline, which is the vocabulary, any type of unanswered questions, and then the different elements of their goal. And when I was walking through and kind of reading what was on the wall, one of the things that I noticed the most is the kids really focused on a long time goal of either what college they wanted to attend or what career path they wanted to take. So it was nice to see that even 6th graders are already having those big plans for their future. So next up was a 3rd grade classroom. So in 3rd grade, our champions were learning about just the different regions of California. They created a really cool flip book to highlight any of the important facts about that specific region. They then had to illustrate the cover of the flip book as well. So this is a great example of how our teachers are utilizing our social studies curriculum and then having extension activities for the students to then apply their knowledge It's not just, read out of the book and answer questions. So this was a really fun activity for the kiddos. Next up is going to be our 5th grade classroom. So once again, we see a thinking map. So you're going to start seeing them everywhere because they're so easy to utilize. This is in Miss Romero's 5th grade class. Students were learning about the patterns of the Earth in science. They were able to demonstrate their understanding of the Earth's rotation and their orbit. They created a bridge map, and then they were able to add in their art skills to actually illustrate the patterns of orbits. All right.
This week, STEAM has been doing Hour of Code for some of their classes. Hour of Code is a global effort that teachers do to introduce science to their students. In some of these pictures, there are kids working on designing apps and codes with blocks or JavaScript. And champions in the STEAM lab also are working on designing things for the 3D print. And it's a great way for kids to work on how to manage a 3D printer on their own.
And last but not least, just some upcoming events that we have going on here at SOC, and I am going to read because I cannot read off that screen. So obviously next week we have our final week before the winter break. It's going to be a busy week for us. We have our Blackwell Student Store open throughout the week. We have our ASB Spirit Week. We have trimester awards that are also taking place on 2 of those days. We're really excited to be recognizing students not only for their academic achievement through the chancellors and the dean's list, but also their character through our CHAMP Awards. So each classroom selects 5 students. It's 1 student who exemplifies what it means to show compassion, honesty, accountability, mindfulness, and preparedness within the classroom. So it's a great way of being able to recognize our students for also their character while they're here on campus as well. We have our school site council meeting coming up, and I am happy to report that we actually have a completely full panel with a member. We have an alumni member, we have a student leader, we have our classified staff, we have our certificated staff. So it's going to be a nice full staffed meeting. And then we're finishing off the week with our Polar Express and classroom celebrations on Friday before we wish everybody a wonderful and healthy 3 weeks off for winter break. And then we'll kick back up in January with open house right around the corner. So that is all we have for you guys tonight. Thank you. And any questions? Because I always tend to leave questions.
Any questions for Mr. Chancellor or Mr. Patel?
How many days left? What, 5, 6 days left?
6 more weeks.
5 days? 6 days. 6 days.
6 more weeks.
5 and a half. All right.
Well, thank you for coming, Mr. Patel.
Thank
Nice
you.
job. Okay, I think who's doing a middle school update? Oh, thank you.
Mr. Brickley was not able to make it tonight, so I'll be doing our middle school presentation. This was our second one, since he did a presentation, a pretty lengthy one at our last board meeting. Right. Arrow down.
Or just hit the mouse button. Or Derek.
It's not working.
Okay, I got
I'll set my phone.
Okay, so we are about ready to have our second middle school town hall for families and staff that choose to attend. It will be virtual. It is on December 12th at 5:30 p.m. The chancellors are putting out information. You can see the flyer there in their Sunday messages. It is also on our website, and so we'll be sharing information starting December 12th. And the main topics of this town hall are going to be really sharing with our parents how they can enroll. There's some important information about that, which I'll show on the next slide. We're going to talk about expectations for the middle school. We're getting some feedback from our staff as well as through our LCAP survey, so that will be a topic, as well as really going into those bell schedules that we shared with you at the last Board of Directors meeting. We decided, and actually it was your advice, to not have them on the LCAP survey because they were a little hard to read. So we're going to really go over those in detail at the middle school town hall, and then have a Google form where families can provide feedback. So if you're interested in the middle school bell schedules, then you'd want to attend the town hall. Next slide. I don't know if the battery's dead or it's me. Not sure. Okay, so this is going to be again covered in our town hall meeting, but we did want to put the information up about enrollment into the middle school. So we do have our open enrollment window from February 15th to March 16th. It's going to be very important that our families, our current families who want to attend the middle school kind of follow this process. So they will have to go through the application process. It's going to be very short. Just to show that because it is a different school. And then, but all current OPA students will have priority for enrollment at the new middle school, and there will be enough space for all of our current students to attend that fill out that application. Remaining spaces not taken by OPA students will then be offered to other students who are not currently enrolled. And we do want to mention though that it's going to be very important to get that form done. So we'll have to have a blast of communication because otherwise priority enrollment will be lost if a current family does not enroll during the open enrollment time. Next slide. And that will all be discussed at our middle school town hall. Another piece of information that will be discussed at our middle school town hall will be expectations. So you can see a slide here. We have a lot of information about PBIS, working with our older students. We really want to prepare them for high school, and that really includes behavior and accountability. And so that will be a topic of discussion. Mr. Berkeley will talk about our student handbook and how that also will reflect our progressive expectations for student behavior. And it is aligned with our other two schools that will be K-5s at that time. Go with the next slide. And we are currently planning a middle school staff meeting to also review our previous behavior expectations, which were called our OPA antecedents, and other research-based strategies, so we can develop an agreed upon strategy to use for our middle school. And then, as I mentioned a moment ago, Mr. Berkeley will be presenting bell schedule options, the ones that we explained at the last Board of Directors meeting, and have our families complete a Google form to give input. And then also our staff will be going through the same process. The bell schedules that were explained previously and will be explained again at the town hall included a 7-period day bell schedule, an optional 8th period day that allowed for intervention and some other enrichment, and a block schedule. So those will be explained in detail. Thank you. That's our middle school update. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
You and I used to have the same question. Go ahead.
All middle schoolers already had to complete an intent to enroll form. How are you going to ensure they understand now that they have to apply? Because that's a different message than they've already received. And so there's going to be a lot of confusion around
There's
this.
going to be a lot of communication. So that is one of the reasons why we wanted to bring it up here first in the board meeting. I didn't put all the slides from the town hall, but we wanted this one kind of out in front. It'll be explained at the town hall. And we really are going to have to be very intentional with our communication.
And the registrars will be doing individual phone calls to
That was
any
my
family
They'll be monitoring and just filled out a form and who has not.
But why can't we just take the intent to register as their application? Is there a protocol that's one?
Legally, as a different LEA, they have to follow the same process that anyone
see.
else applying
I
to the middle school has to follow. So because any outside families have to fill out an application,
technically our middle school students are considered outside as well. Even though they're OPA, they're not current OPA middle school students. So next year, it will only be those, or the following year after this, it will only be the 5th graders moving into 6th grade. Everybody won't have to reapply who's already there. But legally, because it is a separate charter school, they have to do the same application process, but then like when you're enrolling as an outside student, you have to submit a whole bunch of enrollment paperwork and forms. They won't have to do any of that. It rolls up from Aries. But legally, they do have to fill out that same application
But
process.
they don't have to do next year on, they don't have to do intent to re-enroll because they just have to apply at the 5th.
They just have to apply.
Okay, this was the one time, maybe the
This is the
explanation
one
is that
time when
we had to do
everybody
for
has to
planning
do it,
purposes, we had to.
because
do
it's
it.
all of
Yeah.
the grade levels
Yeah.
that are going to the new
Right.
school.
Makes
5th, 6th, and 7th are moving up into the new school.
Don't we do an intent to enroll every student every year?
And the intent to enroll is every student every year. The application then
It's
will
just
only
one,
be the 5th graders after this year, the 5th graders going
But
into
next
6th
year,
grade.
5th graders don't have to fill in an intent, they just have to fill in the application. I think that's, this time they had to do
No,
both, that was the
They
question.
still have to do intent to.
They'll still have to do the intent to enroll.
Fifth
We always,
graders?
yes, we always do intent to enroll because they're for 2 different purposes. So intent to enroll are based, that's what our facilities request is based on. When we're applying for a facility or to keep our facility from Saddleback or Capo. The application is actually applying to be part of the middle school. So this year it kind of had a dual purpose because it was for the petition as well as for the facility. But every year, every student has to do an intent to re-enroll no matter what grade level they're in. Usually that comes out in November, right, or October, right before we have to turn in our facilities request. But the only students that will have to do the application next year would be the 5th graders.
And they're 2 different times. One's in November and then the apply.
He applies in February, March. Yeah.
Any other questions?
And no, I had the same stuff. Okay, for sure. The site, has the site been officially selected and can it be announced yet?
No.
No, okay, no, that's a good question.
The-
Oh, actually, I don't have that question.
Saddleback Valley has until February 1st to give
Okay.
us their preliminary offer of a site.
Okay,
If we like it, that's our site. If we don't, then we go back and argue why we don't want that site.
Okay.
So hopefully it'll be February 1st and they'll give us what we want.
Okay, so my other question was, when is the decision gonna be about the new bell schedule, whichever way you go? What's the date of that? Do you have like a timeline?
A timeline, so the meeting is December for this one. We'll probably put the staff out in January. And then we'll look at the feedback that we get. We also are looking at all of our options and staffing and because the feedback is not just this schedule, it'll be separate. And then we also have the strategic planning survey coming up, which is going to talk about elective offerings, CTE pathways. So we're gonna get all of that information together, should be all complete in January. And then really we'll be able to make some informed decisions and share that information out.
Presumably it has to be done before they have to apply for this, because they need to know what the bell schedule is before the parents apply for this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
so
So that they
we said,
understand.
we said February,
So
so
maybe
you're
beginning
kind
of
of working
February,
towards a February date.
Yeah.
The start and end times of the schools have already been decided, and that was presented at the last town hall. This is more the operations within the school day.
So how's the engagement from? Meaning, do you guys have a sense that 60% of our 5th, 6th, and 7th grade parents are engaged in the process, or what is your sense?
So we did have a lot of engagement at our first town hall meeting, so we are looking forward to having the similar engagement. Also, writing the LCAP or strategic planning survey, there is a question about, do you intend to go to middle school? And then it opens up a whole new set of questions, but we can do some data analysis by grade level, seeing percentages, and when we present that data from the LCAP survey, we can actually give you some real numbers. So of our fifth graders, this percentage had stated that they're going to be attending the middle school, sixth and eighth. So looking at, we'll first have to look at percentage that participated in the survey. So the more people that participate, the better that data will be. So we'll
Yeah,
have
and
that.
maybe our fifth, sixth, and seventh grade teachers can also help,
Mhm.
organically get the students
Exactly.
excited about this process and have the champions also go talk to the parents about it, right? Because I think,
Absolutely.
honestly, like, at some point in time, many parents feel overwhelmed with the communication we get, and this is important, like, they have to come and apply, and we gotta shake their shoulders saying, guys, you're actually giving up your seat if you don't do it, so it might be interesting to get the teachers involved as well, if it makes
And
sense.
we had
to them.
almost, and just as a kind of a metric that we just had for our intent to enroll forms that just went out in October, we had almost 100% of our fifth, sixth, and seventh grade parents. I think we were missing 13. So every single one except for 13 had filled out a form saying that they were intending to go send their student to the middle school from fifth, sixth, and seventh. So that was kind of our first piece of data showing that pretty much all of our families, according to that piece of data, are intending. And those 13 forms could have just been I forgot to do it or whatever, but it was everybody except for those 13.
To Paul's point, I would encourage you to send out the Zoom, the video after the Zoom through the teacher links, because the no offense to chancellors, but I think sometimes when you get, links to Zooms and that, you don't always read them. If it's coming from your teacher, it's a little bit more applicable to your kid's grade level. No offense. But I do think that would be helpful, especially for the parents to get more engaged. I did have one other question. I think there's still a lot of confusion around priority, like you're saying that they have to apply, so there's priority to get in. I think that kind of communication needs to be really explained, over-explained, so that kids know that, or parents know that if they are at OPA, SB, or SOC now, they will be able to go to middle school.
Yeah, and that's why we're starting it early with this town hall, which is on Monday.
Schedule.
And then kind of regularly scheduled from there. Between that, when we come back, we'll have about a month and a half before or about a month before open enrollment starts. So we're gonna really pump that out to parents kind of over and over again in a variety of different ways, just to make sure. And then, like I said, anybody who hasn't responded, we're gonna have the registrars basically just start making, or the office staff kind of make those phone calls just to make sure that because if they responded, great, then they must have understood. If not, then it might be a personal phone call explaining that to those families, will help them better understand.
Well, and I think that part of your challenge is that a lot of them have siblings and they want to understand how that will work.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a common theme that's going to continue to come up over and over again.
Yeah, and I think after this year, it'll be a little easier. So this year, it's just really getting that, getting all that information out to people so that everybody really kind of understands, what does that mean? If I have a middle schooler that gets in, what does that mean for getting into Saddleback Valley or SOC? And so there's even more than just, how do I apply for the middle school or how do I apply for the elementary schools, but the way that those pieces work together in the priorities for the different schools. Which is a little confusing for everybody.
Well,
So it's gonna be a lot of
And
explanation.
the word priority doesn't sound like you're in. It
Yeah,
sounds like you get extra.
Yeah.
You're not in.
and that's one of those like legal kind of terms that we have to use. Priority, we can't say automatic, but so that's why we're kind of saying, you
Yeah,
have
space
priority
for everyone.
and we are going to open up enough space for everyone in that priority to have a space, so that even though we have to technically say it's a priority, we control how many spaces there are open at the school. And so basically we will make sure that there's a space open for every current OPA student. And then, just like it is here and at SV, any additional spaces that we have would go to outside families.
I think we were very careful when we wrote the charter that,
Mhm.
you know, that was like a particularly important thing that everybody we were focused on. You know,
Yeah.
similar to like the siblings, you know, if my, you know, like if somebody's in 7th grade and if there's a child, if their sibling is in 1st grade, they get the same similar priority as they were in 7th grade in SOC, you know what I mean? Like, so those things, but then I think the way we wrote the charter, it was like, just because it's a different campus doesn't change the maths and.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate, if you go to SOC and you are in, or SV, you automatically, no matter what you're going forward, you will have space in middle school, no matter what.
Yeah,
You'll have priority.
you'll have priority.
Yes.
I just want the work, like, you know, I just want to keep
And we
saying.
will consider that a failure of us if
Mhm.
we have to send somebody to another school at 5th grade if they don't want to go to 5th.
Yeah.
I think the charter is written pretty clearly. Unless we have like a dramatic bubble enrollment in the 2 campuses that we don't want to.
But we've actually made
We
that
have
so that
some-
that doesn't happen by having the caps at each campus.
Yeah. So.
And then dropping the class sizes helps that improve
Yeah.
even more because we are actually sending less kids through each class. So that technically there will be less kids going on into the middle school.
Any other questions? Okay, let's go to curriculum and instruction update.
This one will be very brief. Okay. I did want to share about our professional learning December 2nd, and then actually part 2 of that is going to be tomorrow on, did I say February? December, sorry, 2nd. Yeah, and December 9th is part 2, excuse me for that. It is the first part and the second part will be and were presented by our trainers. And one of our teachers of the year, Bianca Buss, is one of those trainers. They did a fantastic job. So just so you know, I know you've heard a lot about Thinking Maps. You've heard a lot about our new writing program. These 9 teachers went through intensive training over the summer to become professional trainers that can translate anywhere. So we've been contracting with the company to provide training for us until this piece, and they were phenomenal. So they presented the first half, again, the second half is coming. They're presenting the writing program in grade level bands. So we have 4 rooms going on, each with 2 of the trainers. So one was together, grades 2 and 3, 4 and 5, and then middle school groups. We are already seeing the impact of some of the early implementation of the writing program. It's very exciting, and the teachers are excited to learn how the grade levels below me, what they're learning, how that's going to feed up to what I'm doing, and then also what they'll be learning when they leave my classroom. So it's an aligned program, and it's been very successful. Next slide. I mentioned in the last presentation about the LCAP or strategic planning survey. We are calling it a strategic planning survey, hoping to get a little bit more participation this year. It is, in fact, it will help to inform the LCAP is one of the purposes, but we use it for so much more. It is used for our strategic planning. We use the data for our school accountability report cards. We use them for our LCAP, which does include our budgets. We use the survey information to develop programs and also to determine which services we offer. The middle school feedback will be embedded in all 3 surveys. So that we have a parent survey, a staff survey, and a student survey that will be going out. Again, it's one of our most important. We will launch it this week, hopefully later in the day, Friday, then it'll be in the Sunday messages. We're gonna do a push, trying to get our families to complete before winter break. Knowing that we're gonna bring it back, we'll be watching our numbers very closely, see what grade levels of parents or staff that we're missing, and continue the push after the winter break.
remind us what the participation rate was last time and what's our goal this time?
So I know it was less than 50% last time.
It was about, I think it was about 48%. We're kind of hoping for about 75% this year. That's why we're gonna push it before winter break and after winter break to try to catch. And then parents have all winter break to do it too. So to really give them as many opportunities and really kind of send those messages out to get people to do it.
Exactly. And then, as I shared last time, we were in week 2 of the rollout of our champion profile. We are currently in week 4. So this week, the focus is on creativity. Again, our ASB students created PowerPoints to be used in the classroom, but they're also being very creative with using them with the assemblies and just trying to immerse our students in the core competency of the week so that they're very familiar with those terms and definitions that are appropriate to their grade level. So when we go into our next steps, which is beginning the capstone project, they will be able to speak to their own work in any of these core competencies. And that's all I have. Any questions? Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hendrick.
Thank you.
Mr. Bali?
Good evening, everyone. Right, I have 3 main areas that I'm going to talk about tonight and share with you all. First is going to be the student survey for nutrition services that we conducted. Second will be some campus updates, improvements, and the third will be an IT update very quickly. All right. So first, I want to point out we passed our Orange County Health Inspection of all schools since we last met.
Yay.
So that's always good news, right?
Yes.
Doing things right. And then getting to the survey, it was completed by 3rd through 8th graders. Couple of quick notes, I'll get into more detail in a minute. Favorite breakfast item by far was conchas, Mexican conchas, which is delivered, sometimes it's in different colors. So that's really,
Pastry.
it's a little pastry, yeah. So I think
Like
that's
frosting.
really
Yes.
attractive. They love it, they love it. One of you were here that day and it was a kind of bedlam when those were delivered. So anyway, and then as we.
How do we sign up for these
I
breakfasts?
know, we invite you in, we need to come in as guests. And then favorite lunch item, you would expect pizza. We've had pizza delivered twice. And from a couple different vendors through our Fresh Start partner. And that was a huge success. And then chicken and waffles, separate from pizza, is the #1. I'm gonna go through some of the items in a minute. And then interestingly on the survey, it was just a quick survey monkey is what it was, just, just a short survey. It was 28% want tofu added to the menu. So that was something new to us that we learned that we'll now test, okay? We're a bit of a test kitchen, all right. So here are the items ranked, kind of the top 10, if you will. Chicken and waffles, I mentioned, chicken nuggets, chicken rice bowl, you can see everything there. And that's how they were ranked by the students. And we learned that, you'll see in some of the comments, beans are not popular, okay? So that's
Especially watery beans.
watery beans. Yeah. So that's the top 10. And then the next slide. All right. Dr. Pan and I worked on this together and had a lot of fun looking at the results. So here are some reasons why they don't get lunch at school. Okay, and you can read those there. Okay. And these would be ones where we saw it repeatedly, okay, the same types of answers.
You didn't put these answers and pick from these, right? You didn't do that.
No, we didn't do that. These 3 I'm going to show are all open-ended boxes they can fill out. All right, next slide. Okay, so I'd like to see pizza. I mean, if they could have pizza every day, that would be.
Yeah.
There were a lot of them who put pizza for their favorite breakfast item.
Yeah. And then
And caviar apparently. So.
today we had, was it hamburgers or cheeseburgers? Cheeseburgers with tater tots. So that was a big seller, so to speak, right? Everyone's excited. We order extra for the days when we have now figured out that
That these are
they're
the
gonna be
things.
big items, so we just get extra. Now we're learning on our curve.
Caviar, really?
Something.
Is that like one person or?
Sushi.
One person, but sushi was many times.
Many times for sushi.
Yeah, I saw that too.
There's always, you know,
Although I don't know that I would want school lunch sushi that comes the night before from,
right. North-
it's not Pacoima apparently.
North of LA.
Silmar, they're next
They're
door.
such like bougie answers, right?
Right.
It's true.
Well, we have-
Sushi,
These
caviar.
are South Orange County.
I know.
We had to highlight these. Pretty cool. All right, next one then. And this is the suggestion box that you brought up. So essentially there was a place, what suggestion? Do you have no more beans? Because it came through loud and clear. They love the cereals, those are super popular. And then add dessert, more options. So that's kind of, you know, the consistent repetitive themes, but you got all kinds of comments you can imagine. So we're adjusting our ordering based on that. It was a good exercise. So thank you for suggesting that.
Is there any sense of, sometimes there's a stigma with eating a school lunch versus a home lunch, or sometimes it's cooler to have the school lunch than home lunch? Do you sense any of that in their participation?
Based on, you know, when we observe, you know, the students who come and pick up.
Yeah.
When it is something that they like, word gets around. So then we see more utilization.
I see.
So it's like if people tell their friends, oh, it's really, you know, something exciting today, so go get lunch, right?
Mhm.
So I don't see a stigma.
What's on the menu?
Right, it's really what's on the menu, yeah. Good question. Campus improvements quickly, carpet installation. We're almost finished with Saddleback Valley, and it's been I think, a great experience, yeah. That'll finish next week. South Orange County is getting prepared right now, this campus, and that will be over the winter break. I want to thank the students, teacher staff, everybody who's working so hard to make this a reality. The students have been so happy when they go, you know, they leave their classroom one day and they come in the next morning and it's done, the carpet's done. So it's really exciting for them and kind of a motivation, you know, it's motivation. So, and then a couple other things beyond the carpet. We've got a kinder playground at quite a bit going on for SOC over the winter break, similar to what we did at SV already. We're gonna work on this at SOC, having a little bit more trouble with vendors, certain vendors taking a little bit longer. I think there's a lot of spending, you know, with institutions right now, but we'll figure it out and get it done. So that'll be going along. And then we had some irrigation happening, blacktop surfacing. We're kind of doing that across both campuses. So continuing to use our time, not only with carpet over the break, but some other things, just to keep moving things along during this year. Okay.
What's the specs for teachers? From
What?
teachers, what's the specs from teachers? What did that mean when you went on the previous?
The spectrum teachers. I think it's the teachers lounge, maybe. I'd have to go back. Go back. Thanks.
Specs, last one.
Oh, let's see. Oh, the PE teachers actually designed their blacktop at
Oh, that's cool. That's very
SV, so is Ms. Penrose and Alex. They're the ones, and we did it actually today, Mr. Wright, and our maintenance technician, we were all there designing how the striping would go, what we're gonna use, we're gonna take down some basketball goals, move them to a different area, and then the Honor Society at SV will also participate, we expect, in some of the contribution there, so, yeah. Thank
Ms.
you.
Molly, the item number 4, planning instructions, I believe that refers to taking all the stuff from the classroom for the winter break, so you have the space, right?
Yes.
One warning, I won't say who, but some students are planning to not be here on Thursday or Friday, so you may want to tell them to take it on Wednesday as opposed to waiting on
Alright.
Friday, so maybe give that warning.
I'll leave that to,
Particular.
It's in the Sunday message.
it's in the Sunday message, okay.
So we'll get it.
Thank you. Good point. All right, and then just some photos. That's the upper left is Mr. Anderson, and they have finished the library at SV. You can imagine the work to take everything out of the library, everything out of every room. So everyone's worked so well. I'm thrilled. At irrigation, all the planters at SOC here, they're all irrigated finally.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
that's huge.
That's great.
And, yes, and the Honor Society, we have one parent who is very landscape oriented. So I met her and we're gonna meet and we're excited. She's gonna help lead with the curriculum that Dr. Henry puts together for the class, for each grade level. So very exciting. And then furniture keeps coming in from the last purchase that we have, and we're just gearing up for getting ready to purchase more in the new year. So furniture continues to be delivered. All right, and finally, IT accomplishments. You can just read things that we talked about last year. The last meeting continues to be, we're working on hardware access point switches, IDF boxes at SB over the winter break. That's what we're planning. And then we're continually working with vendors like Toshiba to work on moving it to the cloud. Okay, so that's about it. Thank you. Any questions?
Right in time for the open house. That's awesome.
Isn't it funny how that works out?
Any questions from Mr. Ball? Nice job.
Thanks, everybody.
Great job.
Thank you.
Open house, and actually before open house, we have our schools to watch visits here at each one of our campuses.
Those were on our, we put it on the board update there. The Schools to Watch is a national program, and so both of our schools have made it through the application process, and there was a data collection process, and now they're to the school visitation process.
So that could make them national demonstration schools.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And I missed that one.
How'd you miss that?
I know.
Okay, thank you.
Well, there's just been a lot. All right, so we will continue with our financial presentation here. Okay, so big picture here, you guys did receive the full actual first interim for both school sites in your board packet. Overall, both schools are operating at a positive income at the end of this fiscal year. SOC was previously forecasted to end the year at about just over 502,000, and now we are projecting to end about 22,000 higher than that, which is at 524,000. SB, we are projecting now to end the school year at 324,000, which is just 4,000 under than we previously forecasted. And the previous forecast is referencing June. Back in June, you guys adopted approved preliminary budget. So that's what that previous forecast is referencing. So that was quite some time ago. Next slide, please. We also have here enrollment and ADA numbers. So for SOC, we previously projected 838 students back in June. We're actually forecasting with current numbers at 847. So a little bit higher numbers there for SOC. For SB, for enrollment, we projected 695 and we came in slightly under at 681 with our current forecast. We were short in the middle school grades with maximizing the number of seats there. Slide, please. So the overall big changes here. So I'll start with SOC first. On the revenue side, given the higher enrollment number, we do have $630,000 more in LCFF money, as well as back in June when we approved the budget, we had a 6% COLA built in, and it actually doubled after the budget was approved. So we knew that the revenue was going to double in size in that aspect. So we knew LCFF money was going to come in higher at this point with first interim than previously forecasted. For federal money for SOC, we are lowered at $117,000, and that's just based on current funding and allocation that we have received from the state. And for the state, we actually are projecting $110,000 or almost $111,000 more than previously forecasted, and that's primarily due to our special ed program with actual numbers received there, as well as our county tuition program. Given the universal meals that's in place now with us providing meals for breakfast and lunch, the state is kind of chipping in more money there and helping schools with more funding and offset the extra costs there, rather than on the federal side. The state side is where that money is coming from. And then on the local revenue, we have about $77,000 more
that we are budgeting in field trips. As you guys may recall, a couple of board meetings ago, these big field trips were approved to Astro Camp, Catalina Island, some science camps. So we are also going to increase our fundraising efforts to help offset these costs. So you will see an increase in field trips in the revenue side as well as in the expense side below. So overall for SOC, we have $600,000 more in revenue than we previously projected. So with more revenue comes more expenses, right? So moving on, we are projecting to increase our salary and benefits about $66,000 for SOC, and that's primarily to help cover the cost of subs due to maternity leaves and things of that nature. And under the books and supplies, we're projecting $124,000 more. And that's primarily due to non-capitalized equipment. About $100,000 of that alone is in student Google Chromebooks, and actually also purchasing laptops for our teachers. So kind of doing a teacher refresh with our technology there. And then we have about $385,000 an increased cost under services and other operating expenditures, which include utilities, repairs, maintenance. The majority of this, more than half of this, is just under repairs and upgrades, maintenance alone.
It's all
As
David.
what's that?
So David's
This is after we insisted that we spend this money.
But now we get to put it in the budget, whereas we didn't put it in the budget at first because we didn't know how much revenue we were gonna get, and then we got all this extra revenue, so now we actually put it in the budget, and we still are ahead of where we were supposed to be, so I told David he could spend a little bit more.
I'm on a spending spree, on a spending spree.
Keep spending, David.
So the caveat is in the works. Okay.
So, are we doing a sushi show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
But some of the ice was coming, you know?
Oh,
A little beluga on Fridays.
And lastly, with some of those big expenses comes capital purchases that we made that will also increase our depreciation. So bottom line for total expenses for SOC, we're spending about $579,000, which eats up most of that revenue there that we just went over just a few minutes ago. Any questions on the SOC side before we move on to SB? Okay. So SB, similar to SOC, we still, even though SB had lower enrollment because of that COLA, we are actually still receiving $335,000 more in LCFF money. For federal, we're short there. We're coming in lower with the current projection at about $38,000, and that's primarily due to our child nutrition program. We thought we were going to get more money from the federal side, but we're actually getting it on the state side. So you'll see it there on the next bullet. We're getting almost $56,000 more in state money, and that's primarily due to lottery numbers. We projected the numbers there at a slightly lower rate than what the actuals are now that we have. And the child nutrition, again, due to universal meals, we are getting more aid from the state. And then on the local side, we're getting about $75,000 more in fundraising efforts, again, for field trips. You'll see that on the expense side as well to offset the cost. So overall, SV, we're projecting $428,000 more in revenue than back in June when the budget was approved then. And the expenses for salary and benefits, we see no changes here. We're pretty even there. We moved some money around within some of those lines there, but bottom line, no changes there. For books and supplies, similar to SOC, majority of that $203,000, most of that is regarding our student Google Chromebooks and our teachers' laptops purchases there. Services and other operating expenses, utilities, as I mentioned, repairs, all these upgrades that we're doing to the school, field trips expenses as well. And then depreciation, we're also seeing about $10,000 more in costs there due to some of these capital purchases that we made. So overall for expenses for SB, we're projecting $437,000 more than previously projected. So again, we're pretty much even at where we were, overall from back in June. We did receive more revenue for both sites, but we're also spending more, as Dr. Kernan mentioned. We were able to make these large purchases with our operating income as opposed to tapping into our reserve funds. So that's great, you know, that we're able to support all of these items, all of these needs, you know, to help our campuses, whether it's, you know, the landscaping or it's a student Chromebook in their hands. So just overall. Any questions?
I have a question. Thank you. This was great overview. My question is actually about the reserves and when are we slated to see like how that spend down is going? And I'm talking this, even if it's simple, like we start out with this much excess reserves, right? We've done all these activities and here's where we're at in terms of working that excess down.
Well, right now, we're not even touching that because thankfully we're able to use all of our current,
Yeah, technically, we haven't, like, that was kind of the issue, I guess, if you want to call it an issue, I guess it's a good thing, bad thing if you're trying to spend down your reserves. We got so much additional revenue that all of the things that we thought we were going to take out of reserves this year, we're actually just taking out of our revenue. And our operating income has remained exactly the same as what we have projected. So even though we're increasing our spending in technology, in all of these upgrades, all of it has actually come out of our operating income, not our reserves. So again, as sort of hard as we try to spend those reserves down, we haven't touched our reserves at all, that's where we were sort of budgeting at the beginning of the year. So we don't really have anything to show you on that front right now because we haven't touched them. And we are still at, you know, about $1 million in excess operating income. So, so once we do start using those reserves, then we'll be able to give you kind of a better projection of how we're spending those down. As we look at the middle school though, we will be dipping into that. And so once we know what site we're getting and exactly what types of upgrades we're gonna need to do, it's kind of hard right now because it's an unknown of what we're gonna have to spend on that site. It could be a site that already has new carpeting and new technology infrastructure, and they could give us a site that has, you know, just great furniture that's already in there. So we have sort of no basis to start, but once we get that determination of what site we're going to be at, then we'll be able to, then we will be kind of dipping into our reserves and we'll be able to kind of outline what that expenditure will look like. And we are also getting we're going to be upgrading all of our technology at both of our current sites. We just, actually today, we're talking, we got our final bids for that. And so that will also be something that we're going to be using our reserves for that upgrade. So kind of as we get those bids or as we get those quotes, then we'll be able to kind of show you how that's going to affect our reserves. But as of right now, we just haven't spent any.
Are you going, I know that, that, you know, obviously you can't tell us at middle school what the costs are gonna be. At one of our future board meetings, are you gonna map out
Yeah.
what that's gonna look like? for
Yeah,
us
so
that
as soon as we
okay.
have that site, then we'll be able and get some, and kind of we can kind of base it off of the quotes that we have already gotten because we've pretty much upgraded everything, so we know how much we know how much it costs for carpeting and for the tech, we will know for the technology and for the painting. So we'll be able to kind of make some preliminary estimates, depending on which site that is, of how much that's gonna be, and be able to map out, because we'll be mapping out a timeline of when those things are gonna happen, as well as the cost for each of those things.
All the work begins July 1st.
Basically, it
All
does.
the work
So
begins
we're
July
doing both of these school sites. We are finished July 1st.
Then you can just focus on that one.
Yeah.
So that all for a month that we
Yeah,
focus
1 month.
on is just that.
Because we won't have access to that site
Till July
till
1st.
no matter, even if it's
Correct.
empty now, it wouldn't even matter.
They're not gonna give us the keys.
Yeah, but I think Member Smith, I wonder if Member Smith's point is broader, which is that, I mean, I understand we are busy right now with the middle school, so I think timing wise, we may have to wait. I wonder if Member Smith, your point is, are we thinking about what is that big next step change investment as a school we can make that'll help us? Like, what is the thing that we missed?
Yeah.
Right? What is the thing that if we had money, what would we invest into school? I wonder if that's what you're asking, as opposed to what do we need to spend it on? Right? I think it's more about, are we going to put it on? Is that okay? Then maybe I have the question.
Well, and to answer
No,
your,
it's not
yeah.
just about to spend it, like absolutely not, we wanna be super strategic, and I
Right.
think there is probably forecasted a, state budget decline, right? So
Yeah.
having our healthy reserve is certainly, important.
Yeah.
However, we had discussed too, we have a extra healthy
Yeah.
one, right, and, so, yeah, that's why I wanted to check in
And
about
to
it.
me, it's.
And we do have some, once we get through the middle school, we do have some ideas for some kind of longer term goals that we'll bring to the board as well, and then
that's,
work
I
with
think-
the board. So it's right now, it's like you said, kind of getting through the middle school. Also that, that just ability to kind of gauge how much it is gonna cost us to open that school and do those repairs, finish all of the repairs at these schools. But then those kind of 3 to 5 year forecasts of areas where we think that there might be some ways to spend the money to benefit our students.
It's like a one-time jump after which then it becomes
Yeah.
operating again.
I think it's, the prerogative of the strategic planning committee, right, to be really working on what are those strategic directions for OPA going forward.
I mean, it'll come from you, Dr. Henry, you would say, academic wise, here's a big program that is really beneficial for the school, but we can't afford it right now. And then we could say, okay, how do we fund it? If that makes sense for a school, but we gotta probably wait for the middle school.
We're already having conversations
We're already
about the
talking about it.
CTE pathways.
Yeah.
If we're doing like digital production or
Like arts,
all of, we want premier equipment for our kids to use for some of these programs, state of the art, so.
Okay. I think this will impact our motion in the second item, because we're gonna have to approve the budgets today. So if you have any other questions, please.
Yeah, so you're gonna be approving the interims in item 2.
Anything else? Thank you, that's all. Okay, I think we're ready to go into item number 10, items for action. Item number A, approve November 2022 check register. It's recommended the board of directors approve action item A. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve item A.
Thank you, Member Smith. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Member Chavez. Any discussion?
Member Agrawal, did you go through the register?
Yes, I know, that's the main question.
Yeah, right. I think you guys should still go through the
I'm
register.
teasing. I'm
Yeah,
teasing.
just in case, yes.
But she always goes through just, with a fine tooth comb.
I get front row seats for it, by the way.
All backs are up.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Item number B, approved 2020-2023 first interim budget reports. One for the SV campus, one for the SOC campus. Charter schools are required by Education Code Section 47604.33 based on Assembly Bill 1137, Chapter 892 Statutes of 2003 to submit budgets and interim reports to the chartering agency for review. This is part of LCAP Goal Action 3.11A. There's of course a budget impact, but it's recommended, and this is based on what you told us about. It's recommended the board of directors approve action items B 1 and 2. May I have a motion, please? I can make a motion. Any second?
Second.
Thank you, Member Smith. Any discussion? Any questions? Okay, let me do a. All in favor?
Aye. You should
Okay.
say opposed, just in case.
Any opposed? I had everybody's, yeah. Item number C, approve changes to the 2022-2023 board meeting calendar. The January 26, 2023 regular meeting of the OPA Board of Directors is currently the same evening as the open hours for OPA SOC. It's recommended that the meeting be changed to Tuesday, January 24, 2023 to avoid a conflict for community members wishing to attend both events. Is recommended the Board of Directors approve action item C.
I make a motion to approve action item C.
Thank you, Member Agarwal. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Member Chavez.
And
Any
then-
discussion?
Could we amend this to also include the change of the February board meeting from February 23rd to February 21st?
Any objections to that? Can you make a motion as amended?
Yes, as
So we'll
amended.
include changing the February board meeting as well, moving it by 2 days.
Yes.
And I second that, amended.
Any, if there's no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And so we'll update the board meeting calendar everywhere. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go into item number 11, committee discussion. Item number 8, discuss board committees. I believe there's one board committee presentation, is it?
We were just
Just a
gonna have
discussion.
a quick, we had a academic outcomes committee meeting, but it was just yesterday, so Dr. Henry was just gonna give a quick rundown of who we did.
So in our academic outcomes committee, we talked about our vision. I believe some of this was presented at our last board of director meetings, but we are really looking at long-term for the academic outcomes committee. We wanted to make sure we had a vision, and then as different things come up, we could make sure that it is aligned with our vision. So we're looking at academic supports as well as academic achievement. So our academic achievement and alignment is going to be really focused on transitions of our students when they go from 5th grade into middle school, as well as middle school to high school. It was going to be very important. With that academic alignment, we would also continue to focus on the champion profile, which we're rolling out. Was a big task that was complete last year by the Academic Outcomes Committee, as well as our capstone project, and also kind of looking at our data and how we're measuring and what success looks like for academic alignment. The second area of our vision was really about academic support, and there a big focus for this year will be on our putting together some information for parents about how parent involvement really can inform academic achievement and what strategies would have the most impact that our parents can have on academic achievement. So we really talked about our vision. We did some goal setting for this year of some things that we wanted to start to implement, and trying to think, I have all my notes, but I think that was really, is there something both either Member Smith or that I skipped?
I think that covers it.
Thank you. Any questions?
Well, and now we know, if needed, there's some reserves, right, that our committee can also look at applying to improving academic outcomes, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I think with the strategy and development committee, we haven't met, I think sickness and everything, so we'll definitely meet before the next board meeting. And the governance committee. Okay, there's nothing else for item number 12, executive director report, Dr. Pune.
Yes. I should have pulled up our minutes just in case Dr. Henry needed them from last meeting, but she did such a good job with that, so it didn't matter. So I just wanted to, again, we've had some great holiday events going on at both of our campuses and more to come next week. I was here for our Grinch play today, and it was super cute. The little TK and kindergartners up there singing their songs. They were adorable, and they were kind of dancing along while they were singing them. So it's always fun to be able to get, you know, our whole school together and have them participate in different activities. So that was a super fun day. Also this week, you know, just walking around classrooms on both of our school sites, seeing all of the great things that are happening. So, you know, just today, Miss Nye, who's actually in the audience here to support Miss Riley when she was getting her Teacher of the Year award. She's Miss Riley's fifth grade partner over at SB. They were actually working on a project for holidays around the world, and they were looking at how the holiday season is celebrated in Russia. So they've been kind of looking at different countries around the world and how those different countries celebrate the holidays based on the different students that she has in her class and what their backgrounds are. I also saw a lot of the new writing program being done in the classrooms. Miss Corzine they were color coding, they were using thinking maps and then color coding those, and then they were going to start their writing prompt tomorrow. There was also some coding from our second graders in the STEAM classes, so they were actually coding their own games, and then they got to play those games online. Also, I saw a lesson where there were some text messages going back and forth between Hermione and actually I don't remember who else from Harry Potter in one of the classrooms where they were talking about tone in literature. And then here at SOC the other day, our little first graders were making thank you cards for Miss Best to congratulate her for her Teacher of the Year, and it was super cute. They had to come up with what they wanted to say, and so how to congratulate her. And it was, I love you, Miss Best, and congratulations. Secret.
Don't worry, no one watches the YouTube.
But there's a lot of congratulations. And then just so many other great activities that are going on at our campuses. As everybody has seen in the news, there's a lot of illness going around lately. The triple trifecta of pandemic things are going around. So we are going to be sending home COVID tests with each family for winter break. And we encourage everyone to please test their kids before returning to school after winter break, and also keep your kids home if they're sick. I know everybody wants to come to school, but we want to make sure everyone can come to school, so we don't want to spread germs around. So I just encourage everybody, if your kids are sick, please keep them home until they're feeling better and then send them to school. And then just really wish everybody an amazing holiday break. We have one more week, and then we're off for 3 weeks. Unlike other schools that are only off for 2, we're off for 3. And just, I hope that everybody has a safe and wonderful holiday with their families and friends.
Thank you, Dr. Pranay. Any questions for Dr. Pranay? Okay.
Great job. Great first half of the year.
It's been a crazy first half of the year, but it's been great. Thank you.
Okay, home stretch, item number 13, director's report. Charles, you started talking. Do you want to just finish your thought and then?
I would just like to say, it's been a great first half of the year, and I think it's exciting to see how the middle school is shaping up, as well as seeing both SOC and SB thrive, thanks to our amazing teachers, admin, classified staff, certified staff, all of them, and all the hard work that everybody puts in to make this school great. So, it's the time of reflection and giving and being thankful. So I would just like to express my thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
I also have a lot of thanks. So piggybacking off that, thank you to SOC Honor Society for providing us refreshment tonight. That's super appreciated. I know she left, but thank you again to Ms. Patel for joining to give us the school site report and lead our flag salute. And then again, congrats to all the staff of the year. Good luck in your county runoff race. We'll be cheering for you. And then, yeah, happy holidays. I hope everyone gets some rest and stays healthy.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
I say everything they said plus. It's really feeling good to be living the life that was paved from the years of work from all of the folks who came before who were doing hard work too. So in that time of reflection, I would say thanks to everybody who worked on this to make these days possible and these budgets possible and these dreams possible and this middle school possible. It's really fantastic. So thank you to folks who aren't here necessarily, but who have contributed in a huge way. So thanks for that.
I don't really have anything to add other than happy holidays from me and my family. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll end it with the same thing. Thanks to everyone. Thank you, Derek, for standing the entire board meeting. You're the one who's probably suffered more than any of us.
It's just like stand there alone.
Did you make somebody upset, I wonder?
You know, he started the board meeting saying, can I teach you how to use the clicker? And then that went out of the crap of the exact first presentation.
Two presentations in.
But thank you, but thanks to everybody in the school. I mean, congratulations to all the staff, the ones who won, but the ones who got nominated, and also the ones who, you know, we all recognize in our minds. So good luck to the students. Have a good break, and let's come back in January, except Mr. Pali, who's going to be working through the holidays. Everybody else gets some good rest. Thank you, Mr. Pali, and your staff. Item number 14, community input on non-agendized items. The public may comment on items not listed on the agenda that are within the legal purview of the board of directors. Public comments, including email comments, will be limited to 3 minutes per comment with up to 20 minutes of public comment. Do we have any public comment on?
We do not.
Okay, then we will adjourn for the last time this calendar year. It's recommended the board of directors adjourn the regular meeting of the Arts and Preparatory Board of Directors meeting on December 8, 2022. May I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Is there a second?
Awesome.
Thank you, Demara. Well, all those in favor?
We had a discussion.
Is there-
No discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned at 8:43 p.m.
Is that a record?
I'm probably pretty close.
So-